What do you think? Should we have sushi tonight? Or plain old salad? Hello and welcome to The Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games. I'm Sean.
And I'm Eric.
And today we're going to do a nice little versus comparison of Point Salad.
And Sushi Go.
Now, Point Salad is a game from AEG Games and it's for 2 to 6 players.
And Sushi Go is from Gamewright Games, which is 2 to 5 players.
Now, obviously we've got a nice kind of food vibe going on here. We have fish and we have veg.
Yeah. They're both card games with point gathering, essentially.
Pretty much, and they're both around the same time limit as well, roughly around 15 minutes. So, tell us about Sushi Go, Eric. What's the story with Sushi Go?
Right, in Sushi Go, you're drafting the cards of sushi, like off as if it's going on a conveyor belt. And this, to tie in thematically, is a standard drafting format. So you have your deck, your hand of cards, you pick one, you draft that, you hand the rest of your hand off to the next person in the line.
I take that, I pick one card and I pass it on, and
so on and so on. And then whatever you've drafted gives you the points. So in this you could be competing for points, like with most Mackie rolls gets you some points, or the more dumplings you have, the more points you'll get off those, and so on.
Yep.
And the most points at the end wins.
Very simple game. Point Salad, again, I think is even simpler. There is a grid of 9 cards. 3 are draw piles, and 6 of them are the actual veg. So it's a double-sided card. You have the veg on one side, and you have the actual point score on the other. So on your turn, you will decide whether or not to take a point-scoring card, or you'll take 2 vegetables.
Yeah.
And the whole aim of the game is to have the best combination of veg with the point-scoring cards to get the most points at the end of the game.
Yeah.
It's literally Point Salad, the mechanic, the game.
Yeah, themed appropriately, yeah.
But it's a very fun, very simple little game.
Yes.
Now, it says 2 to 6 players, but I've actually played this with up to 7 and 8 players because the mechanic is so simple and straightforward. People can just, the game was over quite quickly, but you can just have fun. You know, it's a very accessible game.
Yeah. Whereas Sushi Go says it's 2 to 5. It does have a Big Brother version, which goes, I think, up to 12 players potentially. But again, obviously, that's a bigger box and it's more expensive.
So kind of a sumo wrestler version. Is that it?
Yes, almost, yeah.
Well, Point Salad, like I said, goes up to 6 players, but it's interesting because one of the things they say about it is that there's over 100 ways to score points in this game.
Okay.
And that is actually accurate because there's 108 cards in the game, and that means there's 108 different ways to score points. So you can score points by having the most peppers, you can score points by having the most lettuces. You can have some point cards that will actually do a disadvantage to you. So if you'll get 2 points per lettuce, 3 points per carrot, but minus 5 points per onion. So it's interesting in that sense. And what I also like about it is that it can become competitive for that reason.
Yes.
So this is the next thing I want to talk about in terms of the competitiveness of the games. How competitive do you find Sushi Go?
Now, you build up your points over multiple rounds in Sushi Go. So once you have the round done, you add up your points, then you start another round, and then when you get to the third round, you add up all those previous points together, and then you have your total outcome. The only real kind of way you can maybe mess with somebody in this game is like hate drafting against them. So I know you're going for a load of maki, or you're going for some tempura. I have tempura in my hand. Oh well,
just gonna deny it to you,
That's probably the meanest you get in this, I think.
Yeah, but of course, if you're up to 4 or 5 players, it's always the next person going ahead. But you're kind of eliminating the cards they need from them.
Yeah.
So that is a fun little thing. This is actually quite the same. Now there's 6 different types of veg, but they're very colourful. But I can kind of see from a distance, because of the aesthetic style, what type of veg you're going for. So if I know that you're looking for a carrot, and I can see that, there's a carrot coming up next, because one of the interesting things about this is you'll have the lettuce on one side, but on the other side, from the card drafting aspect, it'll tell you what's coming up.
Yeah.
So I can anticipate and strategize by literally robbing the veg that you want. And because
from in front of you. Yeah.
from in front of you, and it can be fun that way because you'll have people fighting over carrots, you know.
Yeah, and plus there's the aspect of is like that you have a rake of carrots, and there's a good point card for carrots.
Yeah.
Oh, suddenly that's mine now.
Yeah,
You
I'm just
know?
going to take it to rob you of your points.
Yeah.
So, and it's interesting because you go through, you take every card in the deck is played,
Yes, you played it all the way
The
down.
whole- all the way
once
down.
Through though.
and the end point scoring in this is mad because it's all the combinations.
It's calculator time. Like,
Oh,
like
completely.
I've never not played this where it's like you do that in your head. It's everybody on their phones totting
Yeah.
it up. Like, because there's not only do you just have from that one card, but you have the multiple instances of that one card getting you points. So that one pepper is worth 2 points on this card, and it's also worth another point.
Yep.
It'll 5 points because there's 3 of them on this card. And then and so on, and it can keep going. And
Yeah.
you can keep using that one pepper for multiple point cards, so you kind of have to actually
I know.
tot it up. Otherwise, you'll forget what you're after doing.
Well, I mean, this is why the game can be so much fun in the sense because, like, you like it's nearly impossible mathematically to keep a rough idea of how many points you've got.
Yeah,
But it just becomes a mad grab for stuff.
Yeah.
And any way you can score points, you're just trying to squeeze them out. So it goes up to a mad high point scoring game, but
Yeah.
it can be very fun. Sushi Go can be quite competitive because you get a tally between each round.
yes, yeah. So you would know who is ahead after like round 1 and round 2, and there is a one particular card in this which is the pudding,
Yeah.
which lasts all of the rounds. So if you have the most puddings at the end of the game, full stop, you will get an extra 6 points. But you drafted some pudding early on, and you have the least pudding.
Yeah.
It's now minus 6 points.
And that's a hefty point. That's a hefty
hefty
swipe,
deficit,
because it's I mean, because the points average we found in those hands were from 18 points up to 24 points, things like this.
yeah, so somewhere normally under 30, kind of like if you got over 30, you're kind of doing well for yourself.
The points in this thing can go over 100, and you're sourcing them from
definitely.
everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
the other thing I'll say is the aesthetic. What do you think of the aesthetic of the game?
No, this is kind of like cartoony, chibi-esque art style where it's like very typical Japanese style, and it's like to cutify it.
Yeah,
Like, and they're all very happy-go-looking.
they're happy you're reading them.
fish
Like,
and
yeah,
stuff like
Yeah.
fish and stuff. Whereas now it's not a knock against it, but it's plain art. Like, but I suppose at the end of the day, there's only so many ways you can depict a piece of vegetable.
Well, I think it's actually, I know exactly what you're saying. Like, there's 6 veg. I mean, what can you do with an onion, you know?
Yeah,
But what it is it's very distinct. It's very colourful and it
it's
stands
clear.
out.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you've the full table of 6 players, I can actually easily see what you're chasing at the other side of the table because it stands out.
Yes.
So it's a very functional, practical way to do it. It's a very colourful, cheap, colourful, lovely looking game anyway. You know,
Yeah.
both are.
Yes.
Like, that has a nice tin. But this, even the box here is too big for the game. It's literally just 108 cards.
Yeah.
Price-wise, this was about, you can get this on the AEG website for $25. And I found it on Amazon UK for £22, and for Europeans like ourselves, roughly around €25, depending where you're going.
Yeah. I
Um,
couldn't find it on the GameRight.com website for sale online, but when I checked European retailers, it was hovering around the €15 before shipping.
well, basically, they're filler games. I mean, like, if you're going to have a main course of a game night, these are two lovely starters.
Probably.
Or if if you people again finishing early and you want to kind of keep things taken over, if you've got multiple tables going. I see absolutely no reason to own both, but that wouldn't be the point of the versus comparison video. So to put it into a context, you've got a date. Are you going to take her to a salad bar, or are you going to take her to a sushi bar?
Despite wanting to look bougie and rich, a flush of money by going to the sushi bar, like if I was just, but in the context of playing a game or giving a game to someone, I'd probably go with point salad. And it's not a knock, like, it's a fantastic game, Sushi Go is like, and I had plenty of fun playing it. Drafting as a mechanic isn't something that you're going to pick up immediately, especially if you don't play games very often.
Yeah.
Where this, it's pick a card or pick 2 cards, and then you have a list of all your points, and that's it.
Yeah.
You can't get more straightforward than that.
Yeah, it's very accessible straight away. I mean, like, they're both accessible, but this is just the more accessible one. And
Yes.
I think there's more variety in it as well, because the 108 different ways to score points.
Yes,
you
it's
know,
not going to be the same twice. No.
No.
Really.
Whereas Sushi Go, if you played 2
Eventually,
or 3,
probably.
you can only have so much sushi, you know. But
Yes.
no. Well, so to sum up, really, we're both going for point salad by a hair. But like any good healthy
Both
diet,
good games. Yeah.
but like any diet, you know, variety is good. So if you have the choice, if you can spare an extra €15, get Sushi Go as well. But I would recommend point salad.
Yes, I would probably recommend point salad, especially if you're starting out, the burgeoning collector, or you just got into the hobby. I don't even think you need to be into the hobby to get this. It's a fantastic game.
Well, absolutely. I mean, plus it's got your 5 basic vegetables, you know.
You're
you know?
5 a day.
Yeah. So on that note, let us put an end to this video. I just want to say a big thank you to AEG Games for sending us this review copy.
Yeah.
And I want to say a big thank you to Eric for
Buying this
his
game.
copy.
I suppose. Yeah.
As always, if you want to support us, you could...
Find us on Coffee or go to the link below, which James will have.
And
If you would like to comment on these games that you've played them, what did you think of them? Or maybe you have a suggestion for future comparatives or reviews, leave a comment below. It's always super, super helpful.
so until next time, I'm Sean.
I'm Eric.
Thanks very much for watching, and as always, if you like these videos, please like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And until next time, good luck, God bless.
And bon appetit. Yeah.